Goro is also again niche, only good for eco and some defense skill characters like Akito or Churi, I think. And although nice to have, but it's just so niche that you wouldn't normally like. At least Farzan has characters who, a lot of characters that actually want animal shred and animal damage bonus. And Goro just gives you some crit damage, I think, and then some defense. Yeah, it feels a bit lackluster. He also has a little bit of healing. He's a nice character to have in your teams, but yeah, it's not necessary as much because Eco is not that great, right? Like a character like Zhao or Shannon are actually pretty strong. So compared to that, Eco is not as strong. So support for Eco it won't feel that good. And Geo itself is not a very reactive kind of team. Anemo at least can shred resistances for different kind of characters. They're grouping. They have other things that they're good at, but Geo feels very lackluster as an element, except for Navi, I think. So next we have Kaya, again off-field Kaya application, pretty nice, also regenerates health and energy sometimes, and I think Kaya is pretty strong and it gets better with constellations, but then again, although his Kaya application is really nice, so like you can kill him with Puta, but his burst doesn't last that long. It's not, how do you say, it doesn't have a huge duration like Ganyu or Shenha's burst or Rosaria. Right, if you play him solo, you won't find it that great. But if you play him in a suppose Rosaria or a jumping team, he feels really great. Kaya in general is a nice character. You can also play him in Hyperfridge. Yeah, so I'm not saying he's bad. He also has good damage, but yeah, like why would you play him over a character like Yula or something? I don't know. But that's it. I think Kaya is great, but again, a bit lackluster compared to other characters. Then we have Kuchosara, who gives you an attack buff, but it lasts such a small time. Yeah, at C6 she also gives electro damage bonus. She's really only great with Kuching and Raiden, and maybe Fischl sometimes, or a quick and kind of thing. Yeah, but like she doesn't feel that great to play personally, because you have to use your skill. But even if you don't use skill, you just go for burst, you also get the buff. And I don't know. She's a nice character to have, but her burst damage is also really nice. But I would prefer not to use her that much because her buff lasts such a small amount of time. I'd rather use Bennett, Yeah, and these are Janin, so yeah. And then Chevrolet also came out, which is really great for Raiden. I just don't see a lot of use cases for Kudasera unless you're Raiden C2 or C3. Yeah. And then we have PT. I mean Mika, yeah, I always forget his name, he's just so insignificant most of the time. And although the poetry competition event was really nice, where he was also competing nicely, but otherwise I don't really like this guy. I tried playing him, but he barely gets his energy back for his healing, although he has gotten really nice with Rina and stuff. It's just his attack speed bonus and physical damage bonus is only really great for, I think, Yula, and maybe a few other characters, but it's just, I don't like playing him as much. If you want to play physical Pew kind of characters, then yeah, sure, go ahead, you can play, physical Yoimiya or physical Fischl, but really, why? Yeah, or maybe physical Beidou or Razor or something. Yeah, I just don't like him that much. Dia has a lot of issues, and everybody knows it, but you can still play her in some kind of ornament teams with Nicolette or Aika or say Ganyu or Grizzly. But eventually, why? Because her damage reduction is a bit weird, but it's also nice to have, but her skill doesn't last very long, so it's easier to use Sacrificial Greatsword or something to make her work that well, since her skill does it twice, so you have a chance of resetting your skill, so you can use it again faster by the next rotation. That's a trick, but overall I don't really like Dea that much. As like I got her, and she is a good character like to play. She's fun, but her burst doesn't hit like she can proc Yelan or Shinjo. And with Rina, she gets a little bit better. With Janyon, she gets a little bit better, but standalone she doesn't do much that you think that she's like the most broken character. Yeah, same goes for Churi and Albedo. Again, off field, just geo application stuff. Although Albedo gives you some EM, but she already has more personal damage, which you really want. Because the EM is so reliant on burst, so Albedo doesn't do that much. I also find him to be a great gun enabler and stuff, but again, these characters are so redundant, as like most of the time you need them or notice that they're not there. If you only get these characters if you like them and then play them a little bit, and that's it pretty much. Noelle, a lot of people really like Noelle, so yeah, but she also feels a bit slow. But with Rina and stuff, she does deal good damage, and some people say she's better than Ito, but at least Ito is fun. Noelle just feels so slow, like a lot of damage, but and a huge AoE, but just so slow. It just doesn't feel right to play her. But her shield is also nice, and if your health goes below, then she gets another free shield, which is really strong. She carried me early game against Ace and stuff when I didn't have jungle, and I really like her as a character as well, but sadly, she cannot carry you in like higher floors in Abyss most of the time, unless you're like really hyper invested to the ground and lots of good artifact pieces and red one stone treasure or something. Yeah, at that point, yeah, your Noelle is pretty amazing, but other than that, she's not that great. Holly, another free Dendro, sometimes more useful than Dendro Traveler, but most of the time just short burst duration. Has a lot of application, but it just doesn't feel that great to play her. I don't know why, I just don't find her that fun, because maybe her AoE is so small, and the enemies sometimes can be very mobile, and it just doesn't feel that great to play Holly as much. These are also circle impact. Your burst is, it gives you a defense, right? But it's just so restrictive in a way. Some characters do like her, like in Hypertone teams, or maybe a Nubula team, or maybe I don't know, Alidam or Tenari teams. There are also use cases for Nubula, for showcases mainly. But yeah, overall she can use Drilling Tails, she can use Nublas, and she does reduce defense from the enemies, but it's not as useful, like in a general scenario you won't be using her as much. And at least you can use Mona outside of showcases, you can use Bennett outside of showcases, you can use Kazuha outside of showcases, but you cannot use Lisa as much outside of showcases. But some people have done 4 stars with Lisa, and she's fine, but just not one of my favorite teams to play. Lynette, again, another Sucrose Kazuha. Like, she has off-field application, she also gives you some backup, you can put Vivi, but like I just don't find her that useful as a character. I think she only shines at C6, where you get the N1 vision and you can play her as a DPS, but then she becomes a lesser Hazel, I think. Yeah, I honestly don't find her that fun as a character. Okay, but like, yeah, she's fun, but like her damage is pretty bad, and you wouldn't use her in actual content. Yunjin, again, Buffs normal attacks for a lot of characters, mainly Ado and Yoimiya, and maybe Razvi if you play him like that. But otherwise, Hyunjin is not the kind of character you like. Building her is very difficult. You need hustle, you need energy, defense, and for some reason you also need good crit rate himself. And I'm really not sure. Like you'd have to use Fab again, and so many characters need Fab. I mean, would you give it to Rosario? Would you give it to Raiden? Would you give that to I don't know, Mita or somebody, or would you give it to Hyunjin? And it just, yeah, in certain scenarios she can be played a bit more comfortably than other characters, but in general she is one of the most useless niche characters, niche buffers in the game practically, unless again you're going for something like a normal attack, physical damage bonus kind of a character like physical fish or something. Yeah, then maybe she can be useful. But building her is a little bit difficult, I found, and because she only gets one skill hit and then reverse, and you also want HP for her to be a very good shield, but everything she does scales up of defense, so yeah, it's just a bit of a split scaling kind of thing. I don't really enjoy her that much. Now Razor is the kind of character that carried me early game. He has his claw which can help you in mining, and it stuns enemies, and then he has a huge resistance during his burst. His burst hits hard, and he just feels very fun to play, but as I progress to the game, he felt slower. And although Electro is just so powerful in so many different kinds of enemies, whether it's Cryo, Hydro, or Pyro, he just felt very great early game, and then suddenly fell off. And although these days we have Conjuring Fury, where you use Bennett's Pyro application, and then you get some, I don't know, with Electro and Dendro, you get a lot of different reactions, and maybe it's great to play him like that. But it still feels just like Gaming. He feels slow, and honestly, I would not play him as much as I would play some other character. And because I'm also not a huge Dendro reaction fan, so yeah, since I got Mahila very recently, so it's not like I play her everywhere, and I've grown comfortable with some of my other characters, which are just more fun to me. And the only huge upgrade that I have in my head is Kitchen, Nanari, and Fischl, because I really like the spread thing. I don't like Hyperdome. I don't like things that happen outside of my control, except for Freena, I guess. It just feels like I'm not doing damage, Hyperdome is doing damage, and it just doesn't feel right. But that's why I don't like Lini that much, because it feels like somebody else is doing the damage, the props break, and then it does the damage. It doesn't feel like I'm hitting the enemy, so there's no hit satisfaction. And yeah, that's why. Although Razor does feel like you have hit satisfaction, he feels slower, which is something that I don't enjoy anymore. Early game I enjoyed it a lot, but now not anymore. I like fast-paced ones. And pairing him with Nahida and all these characters to make him great again, it just doesn't feel that great. Plus, I think you need a good EM set for him to be that great. And although it's easy, you also need good energy return, so you use a Favonius Great Sword. For that, you need a good crit rate to proc your Favonius Great Sword that quickly. In general, he has a lot of needs to make him that great. I love Razor. He carried me early game, like until KR 45, I think. And I obviously don't want to say bad things about somebody who carried me, but he does feel very lackluster these days. I tried him in different comps, and he just doesn't feel that great to play. Next we have Kave again, we played in Bloomberg and all these other things. He's nice, and he also saves himself by having some kind of resistances. You can also play him with Milo Bloom, and although he feels great, he's not like OP, like he's not like the best character or something. He's like yeah, it's like 100 for you only. It's a niche thing that if you enjoy the character, and he is a very nice character, so a lot of people might enjoy him, so yeah, you can play him, and he doesn't feel like that much of an upgrade. Yeah. Then we have Femine. His even story was so nice, but yeah, but he's again another Eula variant, I guess. And although he has good damage, it's not all that extraordinary. He's nice. Same goes for Ningguang. Zero damage. Yeah, Unga nice. We have Candace, who again had application, very fun gameplay in certain situations, but yeah, like it's not very practical in most scenarios, and it feels very weird to build her like that. I'm not sure. Like Candace feels a bit weird as a character, but of course, if you build her nicely with HP, energy, and everything, she might be one of your best characters, as a support and stuff. But I just don't feel like she adds that much, except for like fun gameplay, caveats and stuff. So yeah, that's nice. She's a nice character. I'm not saying she's bad, but like compared to the others, she feels a bit lackluster. Then we have Jinyan, who has a shield that's if you go in wave mode, you can do some fire damage. Her burst has 100% crit rate and C2, so you can do a huge physical damage bonus thing. And yeah, she can be played as DPS or shielder, and not saying she's completely bad, but sometimes her applications and stuff is just a bit weird, and you can't build her for damage because you also need to build her for power, so you'd probably be using something like power. The Inazuma craftable claymore. Yeah, I forgot the name. It's a very Katsura Gakiri Nagamasa or something like that. It's just a very complicated thing. Yeah, so I don't like using Jinyan that much, but I also built her to 90 and stuff, and she was also one of my early game characters because I just thought it was very fun to play with R and just go fire and kill her enemies. It was very funny, but yeah, she has been very lackluster after that. It's only these early game shenanigans that you'll find good use for her. Some people have used her in climbing teams and stuff, but yeah, not that great. There's also, because we have Kuma, why would you use her? Next we have Dori. Dori has this burst healing and stuff, and C6 gets electro infusion, and yeah, she can be played, but yeah, it's just you need to battery her, and she can act as battery healer, but it just feels very weird. You can proc hyper and stuff with her, so I'm not saying she's bad, but again, you need a lot of good resources. I also level her up to 90, and even her talents are leveled up because I just find her like this funny character, like she has a personality and it's just very funny for some reason, and but she's not strong as a character, and yeah, and I've never used her in Spiral Abyss at all. She's just an overworld fun character that I play. Sayu same case. She barely does any damage, even like as a healer, she's a bit lackluster. And VV carrier maybe, but yeah, like you roll around and do some damage with her, it feels good, I guess. But yeah, it's just not for me. Sayu is not for me. But yeah, I had a lot of fun rolling around in the overworld, but like in Abyss, I'm saying that she's not like the character. I'd rather prefer Jane or Shen or any other Nexus or Kazuma over her. Even Lynette feels better because she gives an attack buff. She heals, but like it's not that great, Like it feels like every damage you do is just 300 or something, even with good builds and stuff. And it's very hard to build her. Like you need energy, you need attack, you need EM. At C6 it becomes a bit easier, but yeah, it just doesn't feel that nice. Then you have Amber, although she is great in VV setups or in certain situations where you want our application for your debate and you use allergy and stuff. Amber just doesn't have any other huge use cases outside of that, and even then it's just for showcases. It's just not that great. Most scenarios, I think there is a cooldown VV team where you use Amber allergy, but with instructor, I think. But yeah, why would you do that? Yeah, it just doesn't feel that great to play her. I'm relatively minutes in the rating. And lastly, we have Aloy, whose little bombs can't even be triggered by anyone else except Baron Bunny. I think it just feels so bad. But yeah, I did build her a little bit, but then soft because she needed these spectre drops, and I just didn't like farm specters for so many characters, you know. So yeah, Aloy was a really nice character, like in the beginning because she had this huge burst and just felt good, but it was only for a while, and then when I realized that her bombs cannot be like triggered that well, I just abandoned her. Yeah, and I think Aloy is not that great. But you have to remember that there are ways to play her, and I think if you use Corina, Ember, or something, then there is a possibility that you can break her, bombs and then start doing normal attacks. But yeah, the main thing is why you use her over like Kaya, Tongbim, Ganyu, Ayaka, or Risley, or Shinha. Like why use her over others? That's the main case, right? Even Yulaf is better than her, so yeah, or even Trinity. So that's it. That's my tier list. So these are my thought process behind why I chose what I chose. And yeah, you may disagree, and it's fine because everybody has a different way of playing the game. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening to me rant about each of these characters and what I like about them. So this is my personal, biased, subjective tier list. Thanks.